Stop. What is up, Patreon crew? We were just laughing at a still frame that Kim had pulled up on her. We were watching the live show. Kim had a window with the live show pulled up, and it was paused on a still frame that was quite funny. It was me. It was like, no, stop talking. And Kim was just like, oh, I'm scared. It's quite funny. What's up, crew? How's everyone doing? First and foremost, thank you for the support. Month in, month out, no matter your tier, we really very much appreciate it. You guys are helping this happen week after week. I know we say it week after week, but the reality is we spend 7 days a week just like thanking Patreon, because we are able to do this full time. We're able to go for trail runs, document, make the movies, spend the time doing this stuff. And it's great. It's amazing. You guys are incredible people supporting the content, supporting art. Okay. So a couple of things we teased a little bit there at the end. Merch. I have been in contact with a company that I am pretty confident will work with what we want to do, but there's going to be some cool stuff happening in the coming weeks, maybe a month and a half or so, where we're going to have t-shirts, hats that we'll be able to offer you guys first. So you get exclusive. You'll have an exclusive release. I think there's a couple things that we want to do specifically for Patreon crew. We want to do a dovetail line. So we want to do a dovetail shirt and a GR crew shirt, something just for Patreon crew. Well, I keep calling you guys Patreon crew, but we talked about this last time. Mm-hmm. I think we're leaning towards GR crew, just because it's simple. It rolls off like Patreon crew, and dovetail will always be our inside joke. If you are new to this viewing in the post show, you're like, what is dovetail? I don't get it. A long time ago, when I first started doing Ginger Runner Live, well, actually no, it was halfway through Ginger Runner Live, but I love the word dovetail, and so every time I would say it, or Kim would say it, or it would pop up in a show.
I only say it because I hear you say it.
It became a drinking game, so I would drink every time I'd say dovetail. So it kind of became a thing. So it's been a GR crew reminder, kind of the inside joke specifically for us, since most of you know a lot of the history with the Ginger Runner channel, watch the content, all that sort of stuff. So I anticipate we're going to make some cool shirts with the dovetail. We did that already for some of our Patreon supporters, but now we're going to offer it to all of them. I think we only did it for the top tier. Yeah. But we're going to do it for everyone.
Now that Raul is back after not being here for a few weeks, he's really pushing Dixicle in the chat room.
What? Raul, it's good to see you back, my friend. Hope all is well. Hope the fam is good.
Raul, I said to say hi to the kiddo, and he said Olivia says hi.
Tell her hi.
Yeah.
Are you guys still doing, I think it was Happy News, or was it Good News? It was a really cute show. Raul and his daughter Olivia were doing, they were sitting down and doing good news every week, which was just good things that happened. It's just the cutest thing. So I hope you guys are still doing it, or at
Olivia
least
is the cutest kid ever. Besides everybody else's kids that are in the chat room, they're all cute. Everybody's just as cute. Nathaniel in the chat room asks, when is the Joe Nation Newberry collaboration coming?
Joe Nation's a good friend of mine, has been for years. Yeah. And Joe and I have been emailing a lot lately, actually, because for those of you who don't know, Joe Nation, Joe Anderson is his name. He is a YouTuber, has been a YouTuber as long as I have. He and I both started in 2006, 2007. His main channel, which I think he's either, I forget if he's shifted to a new channel or if he's still creating on that same channel, but it's just completely different. But we both were doing sketch comedy for a long time, and we collaborated on a bunch of videos, a bunch. So I'm in a lot of his, he's in a lot of mine from 2007 through 2010.
Very tasteful videos.
I would encourage you not to watch them with your children, and please remember that comedy 10 years ago is quite different than comedy today. That being said, he's a good friend. He's a really talented dude, incredible filmmaker. And as I kind of ventured into the Ginger Runner territory and really took it on full time, stepped away from comedy completely, he's been incredibly supportive. He's like, man, I just love what you're doing with Ginger Runner. It's inspiring to see that you are able to make music, make art, make films, review gear, do live, do all the things you really love to do on one platform, rather than have to, find all the different avenues. So he's been doing a lot more in that same vein with charity. So he's doing he's taking comedy and mixing it with doing good, whether it's environmental good or highlighting a local charity, that sort of thing. So he's making these really great videos. I think they're called Charity Pants. I think the channel he's changed it to Charity Pants.
Yeah.
So he and I have been talking a lot about how that can be a sustainable channel. Like Ginger Runner was not sustainable for the first 3-4 years, and it wasn't until Patreon that we were able to do this. I could actually quit everything else and just do this full time, do 2 videos a week, manage to edit, create music, art, all that stuff. So he was really like into this. He's like, man, I really would love to be able to do comedy videos, but also charity and do all these things that he's passionate about. So he's a great creator. He's a really kind guy, friend of ours that lives in Los Angeles. We wish they would move up here, but I would love to collaborate with him again.
He's very talented.
He's very talented. We just don't live in the same city anymore, so it's difficult. That's
right,
that.
That's the end of the show.
That's
the end of the show.
But
take some... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, what I was just saying with the merch is that keep your eyes open. Obviously, we'll post to you guys. You'll be able to get it first. Discounts, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
That's our priority in the next 2 months.
Let's see. Ingen says, I heard something about a Baker movie. Should I get excited, or are they just unsubstantiated rumors?
I'm guessing you're talking about Mount Baker?
That's what I'm guessing.
Ingen,
or is it you baking?
If it's me baking, that would be great. I do love bread.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ingen, just clarify. Do you mean Mount Baker? Because there is a Mount Baker. There's a couple of projects. I don't want to like people. I think people are making something about a project going on at Mount Baker. I at this point don't have involvement in it. I was asked to be a part of something that I think was outside of my wheelhouse. I don't have a lot of high mountain skills. Basically, I would
Mount Baker.
So there will most likely be something that happens on that mountain at some point in time. The only reason I can't say is because, one, I don't know all the details, and two, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I think some of the people that are involved, I think there's 3 projects that I've heard of, and there's people that are involved in a couple of them that I don't think they haven't even mentioned it. So I don't want to say anything. It's not
yours to share.
It is not my news to share. What I can share is that there was a project that I was asked to be a part of, and I would have loved to have done it. I just don't think I'm prepared for it. There's a certain level of filmmaking, like I could hire someone to do the things that I want to do, like to get to the crevasses and to scale all that stuff. I can find a filmmaker to help me make that part of it. But with the projects that I've done in the past, I'm really hands-on, and I really want to be a part of the big action. So Mount Baker, for those of you who are unfamiliar, is a volcano here in Washington State. It gets up to, let's look at the height. It gets up above 10,000 feet, big time. Mount Baker.
While you're looking it up, there's
10,781 feet. I've been higher than that. Not by much, by like dozens of feet. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go finish your.
It's a big mountain.
Tell a joke.
It has a lot of glaciers. It has a lot of danger if you don't know what you're doing, and so I didn't want to be a liability. I might still help out though. We'll see. That's all. I think that's all I'm going to be able to say about that.
Yeah, I think if they're not your projects, they're not yours to
it's
share.
Just I can't. Yeah.
But Ingen is local, so I'm sure Ingen knows a lot of people.
Yeah, Ingen, I'm sure you. Yeah. I get why you're asking. I imagine it's because you know a lot of these people. I would love to be a part of it. I just don't think I have the skill set at this point.
If it was a Ginger Runner Baker show,
listen, if
Rosa
it's me
Clary
making bread,
says Ginger Buns Baking Show.
The
Francois
great Ginger Buns Bake Off.
Snaps. You guys, Ethan is a really good baker.
Okay, so here's the thing. I've been thinking about this. I don't know how much we haven't talked about it at all. Well, we talked about something about that today. Here this is just me.
I have no idea what you're going to say right now.
She has no idea. This is just something I'm going to spout off.
Are you baking me something today?
No, but a part of me was thinking, okay, listen, so Ginger Runner, we do reviews, we do films, we do documentaries, that sort of thing. It's about the sport of running. It's about encouraging people to get out there, be healthy, that sort of thing. But that's not our only passion. Like we are... Like in my mind, I have many of our Patreon supporters, and they have like RVs or adventure cars or that sort of thing, right? I have friends that have these really cool rigs that can go up into the mountains. They can camp in them. They can trail run from them and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that would be amazing to be able to, one, afford one someday, or maybe buy something really like bunk and then build it up. So what would keep us from creating a channel where we documented a build, something like that? I imagine some of the audiences would cross over, but it would also be an additional audience. And today, Kim is like an amazing gardener. You love gardening, you love flowers, you love planting vegetables and stuff like that. We finally, like our yard, our rental house is micro. But the yard is what sold us on it, is because it actually has grass.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of grass in the backyard, and it has these little planter boxes.
It's like, it's so cute.
So Kim's like, man, I just keep watching these videos on how to, like if there's a bug problem in a plant, Kim's like, well, I got to go to YouTube to find the solution. But the videos for gardening are garbage. They're terrible. So what if you just started a gardening channel that had high production value, and it wasn't you like, here's how you garden. We don't need to see that. But what if we saw Kim's journey through gardening?
So when in the main show tonight, there's a lot of tangents happening right now.
It's okay. That's what the Patreon post show is for.
In the main show tonight, you're talking about imposter syndrome, and you're like, well, who am I to say, like, look at me, dude, like training for my run? That's basically what I told you today when you were like, you could shoot your own videos for gardening. I was like, I don't have that education background of like a horticulturist or anything like that. Like, who am I to be like, hey, look at my garden outside of like an Instagram story? But there's a part of me that's like, there's nobody doing it right now. And all the videos you find on YouTube are either from like the early days of YouTube or they're just not great.
Okay, if there's one thing that I've discovered with Ginger Runner early on was that it's a niche. Ultra running is a niche. And what you do is, if it's something that gives you joy, if it's something that makes you happy, that's one thing. But if it's something that makes you really happy or gives you joy, why not? Like, the worst thing that could happen is if you started making videos with you following your growing of plants, is that the worst thing is that you would get like 100 views a video. I imagine there are people out there, and that's all your family. Your mom would watch it 100 times. But I know that there's people out there that probably would get a kick out of watching someone grow plants. Even if you follow a growth cycle through a whole season, but you make an episodic thing, so like episodes 1 through 12 are following the growth of that, people would go back and watch the entire process. I would. Completely different tangent. My YouTube viewing habits change rapidly. They'll go from voiceover techniques to modular synthesis to they'll run the gamut, as everyone's viewing habits do. Totally normal. I would encourage you guys to come back to Ginger Runner every week. But if you don't, that's fine, because you can come back a month from now and probably not much has changed. But I started going down the modular synthesis rabbit hole. For those of you who don't know, it's like the origins of synthesizers were very basic wires, plugs.
This is going to be a long story.
No. I found a YouTube channel where the guy was learning modular synthesis, just like me, from zero to hero. But his videos were linear, so you could go back and watch him at various stages, like getting a new module or getting a new connection profile or a new URAC system. You could follow his progression, and it was really easy for me as a beginner to go, he started right where in video 1, he's exactly where I am. So I could watch that, and then I could go to video 2 and learn the next. It was awesome to be able to watch that. That's my tangent.
Great.
But what's keeping us from doing any of that?
Tangent. Right. I just feel like I'm not an expert, so
it's okay. It's okay. YouTube is not was it Angie's List? Or it's not like a tutorial. It's great for tutorials, and it's a great place for that sort of thing, but
what if I just ran loops around the garden? Anyways, do you want to take some questions?
I wouldn't. Yes, absolutely. Please get me off this tangent.
Miriam asked, are you guys going to be heading out to Western States this year?
We don't know.
That's the correct answer. We don't know.
I would really like to do the road trip, actually. I'd really like to do that. It would be a bit of logistics with Gus, because we board him here in Seattle whenever we go out of town, and it's very expensive. We don't have
and like with his health and stuff, we kind of want to.
Yeah, we would like him to be with us. So bringing him with us wouldn't. That he travels very, very well.
He does.
It would just be a matter of like, are there camps or is there hotels or Airbnbs? Like we haven't gone through those logistics yet because there hasn't been a story that I really wanted to document there that's not already going to be told. I guess. I know there's going to be a lot of excitement, but man, I can't tell you like how many press outlets were there last year documenting Walmsley and that whole thing, and you just saw the chaos around him. And I have yet to see any movies come out of that other than the Nine Asylum, which is a Matt Trappy project. That is the only one that I saw come out of that. But yet there's like 70 cameras around him at all times. Matt Trappy's work and that whole Nine Asylums video is fantastic. So that's the only one that I would really, of course, recommend. But I don't want to be a part of that rat race. Like, I've told a couple stories from the event. I would love to go back and just spectate or help or volunteer. So if we do go back, hopefully it's in that capacity. But yeah, we're still talking about it. We're trying to be as like spontaneous and adventurous as possible for the summer.
Yeah. Vivian, I think, asked this in the main show. Vivian asked, dumb question, but how did you guys get into running? I find it's good to reflect on the why and the genesis story so we can see how far we've come.
No dumb questions, only dumb answers.
Which here's
we
one
both
right
have.
now.
Yeah, here's one right now.
Just kidding.
It's okay. You don't have to be kidding. She loves me, everyone. I started running I did cross country in junior high. I was very, very bad at it. And then ran track in high school, but it was for javelin. And I just thought I had to do it to stay healthy.
You did javelin?
I did. I did not do well.
I feel like I don't know you at all.
Yeah, we're learning a lot right now. And then I ran my first marathon in college. I used running to try to stay fit in college. A friend asked if I wanted to run a marathon. I didn't know what that meant. And he started a training program. So I was like, I want to do what you're doing. But he was much faster than me. So I just did the same thing he was doing, but at a different pace and on my own time. I ran my first marathon, the Portland Marathon, in 2000. I believe it was 2. I think it was 2002. Suffered. It was awful. Didn't run for years, basically, after that. No, sorry. I ran for that year. I also did the Hood to Coast relay with the same guy. But then after that, I was done with running. I only did the Hood to Coast because he was begging me to do it. He's a really good runner. So I was like, oh my God, maybe
He sounds like a beggar.
No, he's really nice.
Okay.
Jump ahead to 2000, was it 7 or 8? We were dating at the time when I ran the Seattle Marathon. 2000. No, 2009. It must have been 2009, right?
Wouldn't it have been 2007?
No. So 2009, I was training for the Seattle Marathon, which is the first rock and roll Seattle Marathon. It was the inaugural one up here. So I trained for that thinking, I want to run a marathon again. And it was awful. I bonked at mile 13. Kim saw me. She's like, ooh, you're in bad shape. But I got through it. I got it done.
I don't think I was like, ooh, you're in bad shape. But I was not in the running scene at all at that point. And so it was a little bit like, ooh, you're in bad shape.
You're in bad shape. I almost puked all over her when I saw her. I had great friends up here that were very supportive, though, and crewed me. And then it was it was the road running gamut. So I would do half marathons, kind of went down that road, found trails, and then gradually it turned into what it is now. Basically from 2009 through now. It's kind of that's when I would call myself the runner. Kim's story? This is a real bad story.
So it was 2002, and this guy convinced me to run a marathon, and I did Hood to Coast with him, and then...
What team were you on? What team were you on?
No,
That's the team I was on. No.
I was never a runner. I was like a team sport player in high school. What?
Team sport player.
Are you laughing because you never made a team?
Keep going.
I was the captain of the volleyball team and the captain of the basketball team. No, I played volleyball, basketball, that kind of stuff in school and never ran. And then right around the same time that I met you, my brother was dating his now wife, and she was very into Ironman and running marathons. Right. And I was like, what is this weird thing? And
her whole family was into it, right?
Yeah. Like her dad and her siblings and everything like that. So I ended up going to spectate they were running the Vancouver Marathon, and I went and spectated. I've never been to a marathon at that point, and I just like stood on the sidelines and watched people finish all morning long. And I was like, this is weird and amazing. I want to do this. So I went to like a local running store and got fitted for running shoes. And I tried to start running a number of times. And it was that same kind of story that I'm sure everybody has of like, I thought I could just go out and run 3 miles and it was terrible and I hated it and my knees hurt, so I stopped. And so I waited a couple more months and I tried again and it was terrible and I hated it, so I stopped. So I kind of went through that cycle for a long time of like, I really want to do this, but it's not working.
Right.
And then around that kind of similar time, you were getting back into running again and running the marathons, and I was seeing you run and I was like, oh, I really want to do this. So I ended up getting a different pair of shoes and kind of just started more slowly and started running with my now sister-in-law a little bit more here and there. And then I ran my first half marathon in 2010, I think.
Yep, Disney, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was hard. And I was like, I'm a terrible runner. But I'm still running and I still love it. Like, I loved it. I had a great time. But yeah, so that's kind of my story.
Yeah, it's what I love about Kim's story is that when we first met, and even when I was like training for that first marathon and that sort of thing, Kim was like adamant about not running. She's like, nope, my knees are done. Like, because of the high school, the floor on the high school was like really bad. I think a lot of people proved that it was destroying kids' knees and stuff like that. So Kim just had this mentality of, I'll never be a runner. I like appreciate what you do, and I think it's really amazing, but I will never do it. And look at her now. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing to see that overcame the knee issues plus the mentality that you couldn't run, and now you are, in fact, an ultra runner.
Yeah, it was years and years of going, I can't
do
run.
it.
I can't run. My knees are bothering me. I can't run.
And as many of you can probably attest, it's kind of that number one criticism from people who don't run is it's got to be bad for your knees, right? That's like terrible for your knees. What was it? We were running. I forget if it was during the Orcas half where there was just a regular person hiking, and she was like, how far are you guys running? And I was like, half marathon, but there's also a 50K or whatever. And she's like, that's got to be bad for your knees. It was just like one of those comments. I went, that is, how cliche.
Yeah.
It's the outsider's perspective that what you're doing while running is bad for your knees. I'm like, just run and you'll see that it's not. It's not. It is if you run in shape-ups, but what else?
If you guys have any more questions, pop them into the chat room right now. We'll try and grab a couple more. There's just a comment from the main show from Raul that I was going to read when it was kind of relevant of what we were talking about. We were talking about volunteering and sweeping and all that good stuff. And Raul said, since I've been out of the running service for a while, I was able to fix that by volunteering at a lot of Kira's races.
Yep.
So that's always like a good way to give back and kind of stay in the community and involved and feel like you're kind of, seeing your running buddies and stuff like that if you're injured or whatever reason. So.
Yeah, we just swept that half marathon, and it was really nice to be able to enjoy the course. We didn't get to see the aid station, so it was a short enough course where the aid stations were calling our friend Gretchen, who was running with us, to say like, hey, do you need us to stick around, and do you need food or nutrition or any of that kind of stuff? And we just didn't need it, but it was really cool to get to see the course, get to use the aid stations if we needed to,
right?
And not have the stress of the race. It was nice. It was nice to help. I mean, obviously you're helping.
I can't stress that enough. Like, volunteer, you guys. Like, do it at least one time if you plan on running a race, because without the volunteers and races, we wouldn't be able to do these races at all.
Lori, thank you for jumping into the post show, and give Chuck, your husband, our love. I know that he's I believe he's still I think he's still deployed, but if you get a chance to talk to him or any of that kind of stuff, let him know thank you. Especially today of all days for those who have served or are serving. We have much appreciation for all. And Jesse is also saying, I'm afraid of sweepers as a back of the packer.
Jesse, me too.
That worry is not unique to you as well, Jesse. A lot of people worry about that. And while we were sweeping, it kind of dawned on us, oh yeah, we are the sweepers. Like, we're the people that everyone's afraid of.
I think that's what I told you. I was like, today I get to be the thing that I fear the most.
Yeah. And we definitely, like, let's slow down, but we never, ever even came close to running into any of the runners. So the sweepers don't want to get you, to be totally honest. That's at least my impression. I didn't want to catch anybody.
I always feel like they want to catch me.
Any other last minute questions, or we can wrap it up?
There's a couple questions of what's next, any races, that kind of thing. I don't think either of us really have anything concrete on our schedule at this point.
I haven't signed up for anything.
I also realize we're both like doing this.
Well, I'm realizing that this microphone sounds fine here, but it sounds even better here. Like this, for me,
how about here?
My voice sounds really good when I'm right up against it, and I don't know if it's because of the filters or what I have on it, but I always have to get it like right on my mouth. But it can also be really loud if I get there. That being said, I don't have any races on the calendar. I want to do. We're doing a lot of volunteering this summer. We're planning on doing some trips to races. Hopefully Western States. Hopefully Hard Rock. Kim Wrinkle in the chat room there. I have this dream of having our car have like the rooftop tent and the ability to travel far and hit roads, like dirt roads and stuff, so we can do like a cool adventure.
And we're doing some local. We're gonna try and hop in some local races and stuff like that.
I want to do short and fast again.
All right.
Yeah, we'll find local stuff. So yeah, it's gonna be a good summer. I'm really excited to get out into the Northwest and see some of the local lakes and mountains that we have been just lusting after during the winter when you can't really get up there unless you're on skis.
Josh says scary, and I think he's referring to your voice.
Probably my voice. Who's Leonard Cohen? Ingen says Leonard Cohen voice. Totally agree. But being in that VO2 max lactate threshold is not just an enjoyable place to be in. Is just not an enjoyable place. Yeah, I see what you guys are saying. Sweet. Okay, I think that's it for the post show, guys. Again, thank you for the support. Month in, month out. Really, really very much appreciate it. And we will be dropping Where Dreams Go to Die on Thursday. If you can or you would like to help promote it, please do. Share it with your friends, your family. You've already been supporting it by being a Patreon supporter. So at this point, it's going to be the public. This is the public version that goes out to everybody. And I hope it does well. It's basically me bypassing Netflix again to get a movie just out there. So I hope people like it.
All right, then.
Okay, then. We're going to have dinner.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, Gus is nightmaring again.
Okay, we'll get out there. Okay. So, yeah, get out there. Train hard, race harder, party hardest. I know I am. Thank you. I know Sufferfest isn't probably watching right now, but if you guys get a chance, taste it. They didn't pay us to drink this. They just sent us 2 cans of it. 3 cans. People. We have a can in the fridge. They're great people. It's a great company. They're athletes. It's like an athlete beer created by athletes for athletes. I don't know. I can't recommend it enough. It's good. Yeah. It's tasty. I enjoyed it. But give them some social love, yes. I guess. They might like to see that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Right. Thank you, guys.
Bye.